Thank you!
Hi there, I'm Lilypad. Let's play!
Oh, extinction! Not again!
Toy Story 5. After more than 30 years since the first Toy Story revolutionized animation, I never thought I'd see the franchise still going with more adventures featuring the familiar toys, let alone still showing up in theaters with now a 5th movie. However, this is one of the most controversial films that Pixar ever released. Not because of anything that caused real-world problems or whatever may actually hurt people, but rather by the simple fact that it just exists.
Woody, I have a question. Well, actually not just one. I have all of them. I have all the questions.
In a way, we're seeing history repeat itself because the reactions from the animation fandom has been very much like how they were with Toy Story 4. Just absolute outrage that Pixar would dare continue the franchise and develop new stories for the next generation of audiences after the conclusion of Toy Story 3. Ever since it was announced, cartoon fans went all in on their negative bias to antagonize the picture and use that as an example to how Disney and Pixar are now running out of original ideas and are mostly making soulless sequels that nobody wants, despite the fact that the studio has been making more original animated films in this decade than they ever had in all of the 2010s. But what else do you expect from reactionaries that get their information from Twitter? But even I have to admit that any film franchise, regardless of which one, going up to movie number 5 is a bit excessive, and Toy Story is no different. So I understand and kinda agree with the argument that this is an unnecessary addition. Same with Toy Story 4. We never needed to let the franchise continue after the 3rd film, and yet they still found a way to make that amazing.
Whoa, we actually did that. Oh, yeah! Yes!
At the risk of getting the fandom upset at me for just enjoying a movie again, I not only love Toy Story 4, but I also consider it to be about as great as the previous 3. On top of its next level animation, it also elevated its cast of characters to create a captivatingly intelligent and emotional story that only Toy Story knows how to deliver best. For a movie that is deemed unnecessary, it sure did justify its existence with its quality alone. And this is honestly why, despite feeling like they're stretching the franchise, I've been optimistic towards the 5th prior to seeing it. If they got me fully invested with 4, then there is a possibility that they can also prove the doubters wrong with this as well. But now that Bonnie got some new tech to play with, are the heart and charm of the toys still alive on their 5th feature? Or are we better off sticking to our phones and tablets to get our entertainment? Let's find out. The story. Some may argue that it's rare nowadays to see kids playing with toys, especially when their eyes are more commonly glued to the screen. Well, that's exactly what Toy Story 5 is all about, where Bonnie gets a new tablet called a Lilypad and immediately gets hooked, which puts the toys in danger of ultimately being abandoned. However, knowing how that felt before, Jessie will do everything to remind Bonnie that life is better offline, especially if she's looking to make real friends.
Now look here, me and the toys have been working all summer to try and get Bonnie to make friends with the Jordan twins across the street.
It's worth noting that when it comes to the toys versus tech commentary, some people argue that Toy Story already discussed about that in the holiday special, Toy Story That Time Forgot. And I did rewatch it to prepare for this review, and I gotta say, not really.
Hey, that's Mason and Bonnie.
Oh, I get it. You're glad Mason got the Optimum X.
He plays there while I rule here.
Sure, there was a moment that they do acknowledge that Bonnie and her friend were too distracted with their video games instead of playing with the toys, but that's only used as an excuse to why Bonnie was mostly absent in the special rather than to actually have something to say about it. So in that regard, the holiday special doesn't count.
This bus is out of gas! Dang it, the power's down!
In Toy Story 5, on the other hand, that commentary is the core of the picture. presenting a thoughtful conversation regarding how children consume devices in their spare time and how that affects their childhood and how they interact with others. The way this is displayed in the story is with Bonnie, where she gets a much bigger part in the movie as she tries to overcome her shyness and needs all the help that she can get in order to have a friend to play with. This is why the toys versus tech aspect is framed as a competition to see who can help improve Bonnie's social life so that she could genuinely connect with others. Is it toys with their classic style of playtime? Or is it tech with its online platform and lightning-fast offerings?
Tech's invaded our house, too.
I don't know, Jessie. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
At the same time, this is the first Toy Story movie where neither Woody or Buzz takes center stage. Instead, Jessie becomes the protagonist, which is a great choice to have this narrative also look deep into her character. It not only explores her abandonment issues as a key motivator for her to keep going and make sure that Bonnie doesn't let go of her love for her toys, but it also brings her back to her beginnings, as a good chunk of the feature is set in the old house that her first kid, Emily, lived. I'll say now that we even get to fully see Emily playing with Jessie for the first time through flashbacks. And this may not come as a surprise, but Jessie's side of the story is what carries the emotional aspect of the film. And I find that it is as effective as the song When She Loved Me. It's what gets you invested in the film to not just see Bonnie play with someone, but also to see Jessie overcome her fear of not having anyone to love her as a toy. And I'll even confess that there are a few times when I did tear up at certain scenes. So depending on how moody you can get in movies, this is one of those features that will most likely make you cry at some points. Seriously, how does Toy Story keep getting away with making me sob in the theater? A movie number 5 should not have that much emotional power.
You know Bonnie better than anyone. What does your gut say?
Bonnie still needs us. Our time ain't over yet.
There are also a couple of side plots that occasionally shift the focus onto some of the other characters. One features Woody and Buzz as the two set out to help bring Jessie back home while clashing over who gets to be called her deputy, which does add some fun humor to see them having a bit of a rivalry over their misunderstanding of their position next to the cowgirl. And the other is about a group of 50 upgraded Buzz Lightyears as they travel far and wide to find their star command. While I do find that their scenes can have funny moments, my one criticism with the story is that this doesn't connect to the main plot until the third act when they eventually catch up with the main toys. As enjoyable as they are, they're mostly just filler that randomly cuts away from what the movie should be about.
We're gonna need backup. No way.
Maybe there can be a few spots that needed to be polished, but those problems are very minor compared to what it did right, carrying the franchise's tradition of delivering a story with a lot of heart that can make this emotionally gripping and thought-provoking to talk about the role that technology has on the lives of kids. Not a perfect story, but still strong enough to deserve a 9 out of 10. Even when it's the 5th visit with the same toys, it sure knows how to make playtime a lot of fun. The animation. Regardless of how you may feel about another Toy Story movie, one thing that can be agreed upon is that Pixar will absolutely deliver on the animation. And in this case, they know how to still make Toy Story a top-of-the-line computer-animated feature. I'll admit that it's not easy to figure out what to say about this that I haven't already said before with the previous films of the franchise. That same foundation that was built since the first still stays true with the 5th, where the style leans more on being realistic, like with the backgrounds and the human characters, while the toys are the ones who deliver more variety and color with their designs that each have their own way of moving their bodies. And with each new installment, Toy Story finds a way to add more toys to their collection to expand its roster and show the endless possibilities of how the team at Pixar can bring a toy to life. In the case of 5, the new additions revolve around tech and also highlight the times that they came from. Whether it be LilyPad, who is a kid-friendly modern tablet, or the older tech toys who rely on traditional batteries to function.
Morty?
Is it really you?
It's really me!
Oh my goodness, you look great!
The double A team is back!
Even when it comes to the recurring toys, they did get an upgrade in terms of their looks to help refine their textures. I'm not saying that they made them look more worn or very used to the point of being discolored, but the changes they got help make it clearer that they come from a different time even before being owned by Bonnie. Like how the main Buzz Lightyear that we all know is still a toy from the 1990s compared to the new ones that were made more recently. And of course, this is the most evident with Woody to show that he became older since he left the gang, like his bald spot and his new gut that can pop out. Sure, they're more for the sake of a gag, but I'll give the movie that it is creative with the way that they aged him up as a toy.
It's good to be back.
What?
Nothing.
Love the poncho.
Someone needs a brown marker.
Wow.
But if there is something that makes Toy Story 5 visually stand out from its predecessors, it's the way that it really plays with scale. Because the humans like Bonnie get more focus here, the fifth continuously shifts from their perspective to the toys more than any of the other films. It may not sound that different than what Pixar did before, but it did change the feel of the immersion. You still get to experience how toys see the world and all the different places that you find them, now with the new addition of the farmhouse that Emily used to live, complete with pets like a horse and a pig, but also, you spend some time seeing those same places in the way that the people live, which actually emphasizes more to how the regular things that are a part of your life can look massive to the toys. And what also works is that the areas feel cluttered in a relatable way. Sounds weird, I know, but regardless of how messy or organized the places can be, there is a lot going on that provides a stronger identity to those who live in those respective rooms. There are many obstacles that the toys have to confront, but realistically, that's what they have to face on a regular basis.
Look what Bonnie's done with the place. She really let things go.
Oh my.
There are other times when they really took that scale aspect to another level during the scenes with the buzzes. I'm not talking about them going into houses. The terrain they go through include a deserted island at the beginning, a towering crane that they operate, and even go through a forest. Arguably pointless to do that, sure, but they still did, and those scenes are at least quite a sight to watch those Lightyear toys go all around in unison. However, what I argue is the best new thing that Toy Story 5 did with its animation is that we enter into the kids' imagination to see playtime through their perspective. That's when the visuals become completely stylized with a pastel-like filter, the addition of comical effects, and the colors being a lot brighter. They really emphasize the playfulness of the moment and go all out with the fantasy. They may not happen all the time in the film, but when they do, they are a delight to watch.
Who poisoned the maid of honor?
Bonnie!
For the most part, a lot of it is doing the same as before, but maintaining the quality so that it's up to standard in today's age with some new additions. But that's not to say that it's a bad thing at all. The team at Pixar did a wonderful job to still make Toy Story look amazing to watch by still nailing its realistic style. And while some of the new add-ons may seem small at first, they do help to elevate the visuals so that the animators can accomplish more with computer animation than they had before. Probably not a surprise, but the animation gets a 10 out of 10. Regardless if it was 30 years ago or today, Toy Story still remains among the best of the best when it comes to CG. The characters. I understand that it seems overwhelming that Toy Story still retains most of their characters from across its movies and then add more to the roster. Generally, when franchises do that, that's when it crosses into the quantity over quality territory and becomes too much to the point that no one is enjoyable to watch. In the case of Toy Story 5, however, they were able to make sure that the right characters get the spotlight they need for the story and not let its massive cast be a problem. However, there were some sacrifices they had to make where most are in the category of "and the rest." Some are more to maintain consistency, like with Bo and the additions of the fourth film to show what Woody is up to, while the others amongst Bonnie's toys can have a few moments where they could say their lines and jokes or have a role during playtime. They just stay put in her home to the point where they literally get asked to do that.
I bet they're arguing over getting rid of us.
Oh, are we getting donated?
Donut.
No, sweetie. Donated.
But when it comes to those with a significant part to the feature, let's begin with the leading cowgirl, Jessie. Like I said before, the movie goes deep into her trauma of when she was abandoned by her first owner. When Lilypad entered Bonnie's home, her fears re-emerge, feeling like she's going to lose another kid, and would do anything to make sure that she doesn't feel like no kid loves her. At the same time, she confronts that fear directly by finding herself in her first house and seeing how it was updated by the new girl living there, Blaze. She is a strong advocate for keeping the spirit of playing with toys alive, even when the odds feel against her with tech taking over society, but she also has to learn that there is a difference between doing so to make her kid happy and to hide from her fears.
The last thing this world needs is more devices.
What? You're just gonna shove them back in the dark forever? Do you have any idea what that's like?
As for the previous stars, Buzz Lightyear seemed like he was going to be the typical love interest trying to propose to Jessie throughout the film, but the movie found a way to be clever with it. When he teams up with Woody to save the cowgirl, his love turns into jealousy where he wants to have the deputy title. Not because Woody loves Jessie, of course, he just wants to always be her second in command. And just like when they argue in the first film, it's fun to see that rivaling dynamic of who should be in charge of the operation. Even after all this time, they still have that great chemistry to further show how they are still among cinema's greatest duos.
You don't deserve this.
Oh, Buzz, come on. I was
Jessie
only...
put me in charge.
Which is why you should stay here and watch the room.
There is no room without Jessie.
As for the new characters, there are the first generation of tech toys with Smarty Pants, Snappy, and Atlas, the main comic reliefs who belong to Blaze. By the way, I almost forgot to mention that another component that makes the movie engaging is that the comedy is consistently good. Even if the characters don't serve much to the plot, the gags that they contribute feel like they did do something that feels worthwhile if they can make you laugh, even if it's just once. And to go back to the old tech, they're great to present how they can also be victims of modern times like toys where they end up shelved for something more advanced than them, yet also be consistently funny thanks to the performances of Shelby Ribera, Craig Robinson, and Conan O'Brien.
Where is that?
That's Disneyland.
Come here. That's me in a pocket.
Flush, you both went there?
For real.
It's so beautiful.
And,
Then there is Lilypad, the movie's antagonist with quite an ego believing that she's everything that Bonnie needs in her life. What's interesting about her is that she's actually not straight up evil where she wants to destroy all toys so that tech can rule the world. She just wants to help Bonnie to get up with the times so that she can provide her with the best life. For Lily, whatever was from before her time is irrelevant, and believes that all you need is the internet to connect with people. And yet, even if there's nothing the toys can do to fully stop tech, there can only be so much that it can do to make connections in the real world work.
Bonnie needs help from someone at least from the same century. So long, toys!
But then there is Bonnie, whom for the first time in Toy Story's history, the kid gets to have a bigger role than be the film's MacGuffin. Even after becoming a little older, she's still very shy and has a hard time finding a friend to play with. When she got her hands on the lily pad, she becomes instantly hooked and learns firsthand about the pros and cons of investing her life on the internet. On top of that, there is the other kid that gets highlighted, Blaze, who shares the same spirit as Bonnie, where she's not afraid to still play with her toys while living in Emily's old house. Their parts add this new layer to Toy Story where it is reminiscent to the Inside Out films, as it knows how to balance between the events of the toys with the ones from the humans to show how they coincide to form this big narrative that features an additional message about making real friends in the digital age.
Bonnie doesn't want to play with toys anymore. She needs me.
Sure, there were so many toys that it's not easy for all of them to have a chance to be played with, but the fifth movie was able to find a way to not only provide more interesting depth to some of the characters, but also give them great humor to deliver a good amount of laughs along the way, and update the franchise's formula to make it feel fresh and present new perspectives of the Toy Story world. The movie was at least able to make the most out of the entire cast, and that's why I'm gonna go with a 9 out of 10 for the characters. Regardless if they're a toy, tech, or human, they all have the heart and humor needed to make the film a wonderful experience. The people at Pixar were always well aware that the franchise didn't have to keep going to the point of having a fifth movie. When they were in a position to make one anyway, the bar felt like it was set impossibly high in order to justify its existence and maintain the reputation of its legendary legacy. And against all odds, 5 was able to come out as a worthy sequel. Toy Story 5 is not just another incredible addition to the franchise, but it is also Pixar's best movie in years. While I'd hesitate to call this the best Toy Story movie, it continues to carry everything that makes it one of the most iconic animated franchises, including an emotionally powerful story, a strong message about making friends and how kids consume technology, enjoyable comedy, animation that's still strikingly beautiful, and a nice return of the beloved characters, along with new ones that keep things interesting. Of course, I consider this a must-watch, but I recommend this the most to those whose favorite is the second. In a way, this is like the true sequel to Toy Story 2, and if you love how you got emotionally invested in that one, then you'll most likely get the same feeling with 5. And if you had fun with this playtime, then give this a like and come subscribe to my channel. You can also join my Patreon to support my work and have rewards that feel like getting awesome new toys like seeing my videos before anyone else. There's not a lot of franchises who made it to this point, but Toy Story 5 is possibly the greatest 5th movie. And that's why I'm giving it the Animat seal of approval. You may be watching this from your tech, but I believe it's worth going offline to go watch this movie.
It's been too long, cowboy.